Oxford, Ohio, Miami University, and the community went together and solved a housing problem. There are examples across the country, and in part you have open community dialogues where you bring these examples in and you say, here's how it works, here's what the experience has been, this can work for us.
Mr. Granger?
Yes, Paul and Clyde, your points were well taken, I think, but I would ask, were they conveyed to the owner of the property so that he knows how to adjust the plans accordingly?
Go ahead. Ms. Nancy?
I agree with Clyde that the college needs to take a much stronger role in this whole issue. When I was in the admissions office, one of the things they used to do was send mid-year transfers out to Dillard, which I thought was about the worst thing in the world to do a mid-year transfer. But now that High Street is going in, all of a sudden Dillard is a much more attractive location. If we could fix the transit so that you can actually get from Dillard, and there's going to be a movie theater, there's going to be restaurants, there's going to be all kinds of things. So I think we need to take another look at that.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to respond? No? Okay,
I'd just like to respond to Mr. Granger's comment, and you all have the minutes, so maybe you can correct me on this, but at that time when we were discussing this issue, I raised the same concerns with the planning staff, I raised the same concerns in the public hearings that we have, and I don't know how much more clear I could have been on the concerns I had about that project.
Okay, so they were conveyed to them.
If he came to the public hearing, which I would imagine he would have.
Okay, this is the last question before we open it up to the audience, so I hope everyone is ready. This last question is going to Matt. Mr. Beato, excuse me, I'm very sorry. Mr. Beato. Obviously, the most glaring difference between you and those sitting around you is that you are a student at the college, and they are not. On the day you moved into your freshman dorm, and were still, like all freshmen, struggling to learn the difference between Richmond Road and Jamestown Road, Mr. Freiling had developed enough knowledge and experience serving the city of Williamsburg to have been in his first year on council, and had already served as head of planning commission. Mr. Hallman is the vice mayor of Williamsburg, having already served multiple terms. Mr. Granger has also served in the city council for multiple terms, and is former mayor of Williamsburg. Ms. Knudsen has served as both chair and vice chair of the James City County Board of Supervisors, as chair of Williamsburg Board of Zoning Appeals, and is a member of the city's Planning Commission. While you were still in high school, Mr. Reel was culturing a grassroots movement among city residents, a much harder feat than organizing a movement in the close-knit environment of college campus, and created an impressive anti-excessive growth lobby that has had many successes influencing city politics. So, students and year-long residents alike should rightly question how you, as a student, are qualified to serve as a member of Williamsburg City Council, having lived in Williamsburg only 3 years. Why do you believe that you are qualified to serve on the council over these other public servants with deep roots and experience already in the city?
Sure. Well, let me address that question generally first, and then I'll address my specific points. The median age of a Williamsburg resident is 22. And the median age of a city council member, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's certainly much higher than that. I think that for a government body only, right? That's right. Clyde's young and hard. I think that for a government to be effective, you need to have all people at the table, all communities represented. And I think City Council has gotten more diverse in recent years, and I think that's good. But the 7,400 students at the College of William and Mary don't have someone who's their age, who's been going through the same experiences that they had. And I think that that's vital for a government to be effective, and that would be good. With regard to me specifically, yes, I did move into my freshman dorm in Gooch only 3 years ago. But since then, I've really gotten a very strong sense of this community. I've lived here both summers that I've been at the college, and during those summers, I essentially did nothing but work at my job at IT and go to city council and planning commission meetings and things like that, because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't dream of running for office because at the time I couldn't even vote here, so I couldn't even think about running for office. But I certainly wanted to become a member of this community and get a sense of what made people tick and get involved. And that's something that I think I've been able to do over the past 3 years. And had I not done that, I would not be running for city council today. So to answer your question, and also, I actually do hold elected office for the city of Williamsburg, being the first student ever to the Soil and Water Conservation District here. So to answer your question, I think I've done about as much as I can in these past 3 years to make myself qualified for this office.
Thank you, Mr. Beato. Is there any rebuttals? Anyone else wishing to make any comments? No?
I don't want to rebut. I just want to make the point that I am also below the median age of council members. Yeah, I think there's something else that's important here, though. When I was first elected 4 years ago, I felt like I knew a lot. I felt like I had great background. The one thing I learned very quickly was I had a lot to learn. And I was able to do that because we have a tremendous city staff, and there were great people on council like Mayor Zeidler and Vice Mayor Hallman who helped in that process. It's not all just about experience. If it was, Barack Obama wouldn't be where he is today because he doesn't have the experience of thousands of other people. What it's about is some combination of reasoned thought, experience, ability to communicate, and to listen and hear what people say. Not just to listen to them, but to hear what they say, and to be able, after that, to effectively articulate your position and get their buy-in to whatever solution you have. So experience is important, but it's not the only thing.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Beato, would you like to follow up?
What's that?
Would you like to follow up?
No, I think I've addressed it.
Okay, so we're now going to move into our audience question portion of the debate. So please just raise your hand to be recognized, and someone will come to you.
And please just say your name and your year when you ask your question.
Hi, my name is Joe Lupino Esposito. I'm a senior, class of 2008. This question is for Mr. Hallman. Mr. Hallman, some time ago at a city council meeting, you asked that the WHRA look into purchasing a property, and the property, at the price that the city purchased it at, was actually $130,000 over the value as assessed by the city. Can you just explain a little bit why you encouraged the city to do that, and you brought up that opportunity, and also just in general about your feelings on WHRA? And actually, it's the other members who also answer that question as well.
Candidates have 1 minute to respond to questions from the audience.
Williamsburg Redevelopment Housing Authority has 3 objectives. One is to provide subsidizing housing, which it does in 104 units across the city, to provide affordable housing, which is done in projects like Strawberry Plains, and it also has a responsibility of preserving, maintaining, and improving the quality of housing across the city. The property you're speaking about was purchased for that latter purpose. I think if you look at properties across the city, my house is assessed at several $100,000 against what it was just appraised at. So appraisals by the city appraiser and market appraisals many times are quite different. So I think the city saw an opportunity in a fragile neighborhood to essentially make a move that would help maintain the kind of balance in this neighborhood that we think is important, and that I think students think is important, and that other members of the community think is important. This was an opportunity in that neighborhood to take a property and renovate it. In fact, when we got into the property, it would not even pass a Section 9 housing inspection, which means it was so deteriorated. This is a complicated question. It may need more than a minute to answer. But so it's a problem that needs to be worked with. I think this was a good decision by the city, and I think if other opportunities come up, we'll take them.
Thank you, Mr. Hallman. Would anyone like to respond? Mr. Will? Mr. Granger?
I lived 2 blocks away from that house. It had been rented for a long time to 2 low-income families, probably, 2 low-income situations. And I think it was wrong of the housing authority to take it off the market and throw 2 apartments out just to put in 1 house. I think they did wrong, and it's not a fragile neighborhood. It's a very nice neighborhood. I live there, and Dave Craneville lives across the street. Professor Craneville, we both moved there a long time ago, and it's not a fragile neighborhood, it's a very good neighborhood.
I think I take exception to the idea that it's okay for low-income people to live in a house that's in bad shape. And that's the whole idea of the redevelopment authority, is to provide workforce housing. And this idea that